have roll call, please, Secretary?
It's on the back of your agenda, Miss.
And
I think there's a couple of changes on that.
Armstrong here, Mrs. English, Mrs. Lott,
Here.
and I'm here, Sister Mary Christian, Mrs. Graves, Mrs. Stanley, Miss Gamage,
Here.
Mrs. Garland, and Miss Hopper.
Was on duty 3 at 11 yesterday with Ms.
She's
Dixon's
at
husband.
Piedmont doing cottage duty.
Sections, Miss Mallory,
Yep.
Miss Rosecrans,
Here.
Mrs. Bussey, Mrs. Langford, Mrs. Hanson,
Here.
and Mrs. Stedman.
Here.
Mrs. Honeycutt, she's not here, is she? Mrs. Lewis is
Present.
here, and Miss Atkins.
Thank you. We do have a quorum. It seems a long time, but minutes have been circulated for our meeting of May the 6th, June the 10th, and July the 17th.
Maybe you leave that one down.
Are there any corrections to the minutes as circulated? Hearing none, they stand approved as circulated. The agenda calls for communications from the president. I think that I have none at this time. There are so many items which will come up during the meeting that I would not like to have anything added to it. Maybe we have a report of the secretary.
I don't believe I have any special report. I have written the minutes of, and Mrs. Atkins has circulated them of all the meetings that I have attended, and I presume she wrote the minutes for the last meeting. No, Miss Stanley, I guess, did. I appreciate that. But other than that, I have no report.
Okay.
And I've signed all the vouchers that Mrs. Atkins has sent to me.
Here, report of the treasurer.
I have several reports, so if it would be agreeable with the board, I thought the financial report, treasurer's report from July and August, if I could just, there's nothing special there, the routine expenditures, if I could give the receipt, the total receipt and the total disbursements. Would that be in order, Ms. Lewis? Would that be all right, just to give the total receipt and total disbursement without giving itemized for the treasury report for July and August since it's routine?
Well, unless they want to ask some questions about it.
In July, the total receipts were $518.29. Then it was a balance brought forward of $1,983.09, which gave a total of $2,501.38. And then for the disbursements, the total was $1,038.95. And clearing the bank for July was $1,462.43. And then for August, the balance brought forward from July was $1,462.43. And the total receipts were $5,156.65. And the disbursements for August, $1,074.45. And clearing the bank at the end of August was $5,544.63.
And any questions regarding either of the banks, of the reports, July or August? Hearing none, the reports will be filed.
Then, I don't know whether you have this on the agenda or not, the cost for closing the registry and circulating proposed plans for community registry. Do you want that report now? Or is that special on the agenda?
Did you add that special, Carol?
Well, it's under the
That kind of
finance, and
finance
sister's
report.
gonna have to give it, so with the permission of the group here,
Yes, we'll go
she's
ahead
going to
with
have
it.
to leave early, that we'd have all of that, since the budget will have to be approved, and all of it is under finance. If there's no objection. If there's no objection.
If there are no objections, we will also take this report at this time.
I have the total report from the Finance Committee, and one of the reports from the Finance Committee, Ms. Macy's the chairman, and I'm one of the members, and she asked me to give the report. And the first report is the total cost of closing the registry and circulating proposed plans for the community registry. And closing the registry, the expenses for the maids and porters and so forth was $15.25. And then the dime messenger transferring the files from the old registry was $24.50. And then circulating proposed plans, printing, so forth, $113.30. And envelopes and stamps, $41.70, which brings the total to $194.75. The above items were paid with fifth district funds and is to be reimbursed by funds remaining in the registry account. Are there any questions about that?
Sister, what did you say the total cost of that, submitting that?
$194. This is what I just read.
Yeah, I'll give it to you, and you have it all timed. I think I sent you one, but in case you didn't get it,
Well, I didn't get it.
well,
And then I have a further annual report from the Committee on Finance before I give you the proposed budget for 1968-69.
maybe she'd like, Sister, may I interrupt? Maybe she'd like to know that there is a balance of only $752.67 of the registry fund, and out of that we'll have to come approximately $200 for the auditors, in addition to the $194 that you've just heard. I thought maybe
200 and how much for the auditor?
approximate two. I don't know what he's going to charge on this, but it would be at least a minimum of 200.
You have heard the cost of closing the registry. You've also heard the amount that's left in the fund. We need to take some action, and I think we may as well do it now, regarding the money that's left in the fund after the expenses are paid.
It's
Now,
included
this-
in the recommendations from the Finance Committee.
Miss Mays has made some recommendations, I understand. She called
Well,
me to tell me, that I think would kind of cover what you wanted.
Maybe she has that.
I have,
My sister has
and if
one.
it's not what they want, they can
Well-
make others probably. Is that all right?
Well, if, it would seem to me if we're handling the business of closing the registry at this time separately from the other, perhaps you might want to act on this at this time. It's a little different, it seems to me, from the proposed budget.
Well, I have 6 recommendations from the Finance Committee following this report, and 3 of them pertain to the registry, so I could go into those now,
Well,
and then
just-
give the budget.
Just divide the report right
It's gonna
there.
get confusing for me. Would you like to read the one that has to do with the transferring of funds then? Let's act on it.
And this is a recommendation from the Committee on Finance that outstanding bills for the registry be paid and any balance be placed in the 5th District funds. This being the remainder of the $5,000 secured by the Special Committee in December 1967 for the registry and belongs to the district. and I move that outstanding bills for the registry be paid and any balance be placed in the 5th District funds.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded that bills be paid and that the balance be transferred to the district funds. In discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no.
There's one question here. She wanted to know what the balance would be. Carolyn, what was that?
Well, you've got $762.50, wait a minute if I can find it again, I'll tell you exactly what the bank statement, and the checks have been cleared to the auditor. He will have your report, I called this morning at the end of the week, but not today. $752.67 is
Does that
the
pay
balance.
for the auditor or
That
and
does
this?
not, no, that doesn't pay any of those. That's the total left from the register with their checks out. The ones you just are going to reimburse now would be the 194 plus, which would include the moving,
75.
include the moving, plus the auditor. You're going to have to pay him at least $200. Approximately $400 of that we know will be outstanding. So there won't be but about $300, even maybe not that much if you charge $250. Depends entirely on how much the audit is.
Any further discussion or question?
You want to see
All
that?
those in favor of paying our bills and transferring whatever is left to the district, please say aye. Opposed, no. It's carried. Is there another recommendation that concerns the funds of the registry?
Yes, let me give you a
Maybe
copy
we
of 'em.
should have.
One about the office, Ms. Armstrong.
Here.
I guess which would, the number 2.
Yeah. You want to read that?
That the registry office be retained for October if necessary to prevent paying storage on the equipment while the new registry is being formed. And this means that we would have to pay rent throughout October for the registry. And this motion is made, recommendation is made to prevent paying storage on the equipment while the new registry is being formed, because we felt that it would be just as expensive to pay storage of equipment, or maybe more so, than rent on the present facilities.
The rent was paid through September.
That's what it is a month. It's $125 a month, she told me. This lady called me this morning.
Oh,
They move one file, one portable photocopier, one box of material, and a typewriter, and it charged $24.50. Now, there are several files, several desks and tables and things like that you would have to move, and if you went back in the office, would have to be moved back in the event they use that space. That was the reason. Miss Mace asked me to show you, and if anybody wants to see it, before she undertook to close it, which she was requested to do, a letter was gotten from the auditor stating what records should be kept on file for legal retention. And it took 5 days to close it. She had no idea it would take that long because there were call loads of it. And if anybody would like to see, the papers are retained in the headquarters according to this, whether 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years are indefinite. And she does have a sister, does have more recommendations about it, if anybody wants to see the letter.
There's also one about the disposition of the furniture for the registry. Is that?
that has to be taken up today too, but let's act on the one you just mentioned.
I'm sorry, I forgot we hadn't
Yeah.
acted on it. Thought was that the registry office be retained for October if necessary to prevent paying storage on the equipment while the new registry is being formed.
It almost seems that the next one should be taken before this, because it has to do with what the board says should be done with the furniture, I believe. So, excuse me, and let's go back to this recommendation and read it first. I think we have to say that number 4.
All right, that disposition of furniture and equipment on the nurse's professional registry be left up to the discretion of the board of directors of the 5th District GSA.
This comes as a committee recommendation. I believe it does not require a second. Would you like to talk about this for a moment?
This
But-
is the furniture, isn't
This is furniture, not files.
it? No, I'd like to ask what, has been done or what, is the potential for a community registry? Is there any development on that would, lead us to believe that this furniture would be taken over maybe or contributed to the community registry?
Well, certainly the
Seems to me like
committee,
that's what we said before, that we would like to do as a gesture of good faith in the community registry, since we were advocating that.
you have had a report from the committee, and in this report, it asked for commitment from certain people. And one of the things was that the district, don't remember offhand what it says, but give this furniture to the proposed new registry. And this is something we do have to act on so that we can get this in writing to the committee.
It was my understanding that the private duty section bought the furniture. I don't know. I think some of them have the bills for it.
Well, I believe there's a chair in there that was bought without the district say-so. I don't know,
Well, most of that was bought in 1960, when I first came in office in March, about $1,000, and we have the bills for it, all of it down, and it's in the minutes there. In fact, they ordered it without approving it by the board, but it was then approved in March 1960, over $1,000 in furniture. And it was,
legally, I couldn't say if they have any feeling about it, what the answer is, but it was bought by whomever bought it for the registry. The registry was the property of the district. Therefore, it would seem to me the furniture becomes the property of the district. Now, as I say, I know nothing about the legality of all this, but do you?
I'm no lawyer, but as far as your bylaws are concerned, the district had the complete say-so, you see. I mean, the registry was under the district. So, there again, you go right back that this is where the responsibility was right here with the district, so.
Yeah.
I think it would hold up.
As part of the discussion, what was the individual or group, whoever wanted to say something about it, what was their feeling about the furniture? Did they personally want it?
They didn't say, there was one that had been active that said that the private duty section had bought it, and that's all I know. That was a good while ago.
Did they say how much they bought?
No,
well, we have an inventory.
She had bills on,
Before we,
no, private duty section, private duty section.
before the district was closed, I asked that an inventory be made. I don't believe there had been one. Am I right, up until that time?
No.
So we do have an inventory of the equipment. Do you have it?
I've got it here, it's on the back of that auditor's letter I just showed you. Did I pass it around to anybody? We have them, here's the letter, it is, yes, I'm trying to keep it together. There's your inventory of what is down there, and,
Carol, okay.
yes,
Well,
and that's the letter, let them,
Could you in any way, on your bills that you have, mark it off on this inventory?
oh, I'd have no way of going through those records and checking when they were gotten, because it's been going over 50 years when the furniture was bought and all. I have the ones from 1960, which is all the Remington ran, and that includes the 2 desks, the filing cabinets, the practically everything they're using except an old file, an old lamp. Then they bought a lounge chair after that furniture was gotten. They got rid of
You
it.
think that's,
Things. I have not gone
$1,000
through, all I did was go through the files to take the papers as the auditor stated, and I have not opened it since it's been in there. I mean, I haven't had time in the first place from telephone calls. I haven't even had time to move the stuff out where I can get around. Everything I do has to be done, because you see, we had to move out 9 years worth of HANs to even put it in there. So, I'm sure that they have financial bills in there of when they were, and those statements are
I
kept.
can see if I can get those bills if you want me to.
Well, if
Make it
anybody's
make
got a
no
legal claim to anything in there, it must have been a gift, or they would have no right to put it in the registry.
This is what
I
I'm
wouldn't know.
wondering. I don't want us to get off on,
Uh-huh.
on the wrong foot with anybody, but we do need to make some decision about, what's left in that room
Well, I
at the
just thought you ought to know.
hotel.
The personal things should have been gotten out of there, but it wasn't. We had to clean up the butter out of the refrigerator, and the vegetables and the cooking pots and personal things took 1 full day, and then 4 more days for the old statements and the old receipts that should have been gotten out of there. There were wagon loads of them. So, it was 5 days cleaning job.
Well, could the private duty section maybe identify what they think belongs to them?
It's all stored, everything that wasn't carried to the district is stored at the Catholic, hospital. Sister, what's the name of the one I'm talking about? Not yours.
Holy Family.
No,
No,
not
the
Holy
cancer
Family.
home, I believe.
Cancer home, the cancer home, and it's right next to the incinerator, so it'll be right good. And it's locked. We were going to buy, a storage room was gonna cost us $7.50, and it would not accommodate everything it had in the Healy building. And it would cost us $100 to move it.
Well, if everything's stored there, what's the question about renting the office or storing? Carol, you wanna answer that?
If anybody can lay an illegal claim on what they have up there, let
Well,
them
I
know.
think what Ms.
Oh, that's just
Uh,
the pots and
office
pans
space.
and stuff. wasn't
Just the office space.
it? No, it was office and
Is there anything else?
$125 a month?
Yes.
Tell us,
I
Carolyn,
don't know.
what is left in that room at the Henry Grady?
All right. You've got 2 desks.
Coming up, I would've found out.
One with the wing on the side and a storage. You've got a storage file, you've got a little old tiny file, and you have a lounge chair, you have 2 posture chairs and 1 executive chair. And you've got an ice box that used to belong to Mr. Cannon. He gave it there when he took insulin at the time. And someone has told us that the old lamp down there was from the hotel. There's an old thermofax in there that they bought after 1960, which will not work, and they won't give you a trade-in on it. There's the typewriter. It was taken to the office. It came out of the 5th District money that was given to them. They can have it back, or I'll lend it to them if they want it, because it isn't nearly as good as our old one. But the desk are all there. I don't know of anything in there that would be of any benefit to anybody else. The Cardex filing system, which is the most expensive thing there, would be of no benefit to the district. It's a very elaborate thing by the Remington Rand. And the list is right there if anybody wants to see it.
But where is this stuff?
That is in the Henry Grady. Now, you've
What's
got
over at
one
the Rhodes
filing
home?
cabinet, one filing cabinet is in the
Cancer.
office. You've got,
Just the pots and pans and all this stuff
Oh, that's
are
pots
over
and
at the
pans.
cancer home, is that what you were talking about?
no.
Or what,
They borrowed the
Whatever
station
that
wagon,
stuff was.
listen, they borrowed the we gave the AJNs to the junior college out there. Miss Bradley came and got them. We had to have it to clear out the space. The files with the papers that you're going to have for the Treasury Department or any legal thing, retention, which you must keep, are down in the office in a filing cabinet. Then Miss Mace got the station wagon from Ponce de Leon, which is so large it wouldn't turn around on the turnstile downstairs, and loaded it up with all the rest of the old papers and old records and old things that were left in the office there. And they're down there at the cancer home.
Ms. Armstrong, would you like me to get those bills on that if I can? Would it be necessary?
Well, what right do they have having bills of something that belongs to the registry? That's the point I don't understand.
was
I don't
asking
know
Ms.
either,
Armstrong.
but if someone says they have something in hand, I think we should have it, and then I think we should get legal opinion as to what this, who it belongs to and so forth. But if I certainly don't want anybody later on saying that the district took this, it didn't belong to the district and this sort of thing. I think we
Miss
better be
Bishop-
sure about what we're doing.
Miss Bishop
I think
did
so,
give an
too.
encyclopedia. Now, where they are, I don't know. The books had to be cleared out. She gave the office one. We have that. Now, whether she's
Seems to
gotten
me
hers or
when
not.
something's given, it becomes a property of the,
District.
whoever it was given to.
Right.
And I personally don't feel anybody has a claim, but then I'm not one to say.
Since they do hold that, it might be, like Ms. Armstrong said, good to get legal advice on
It is. I did go to the registry, before it was closed, or the day it was locked. And I didn't see too much there that anybody ought to argue about, because the desks are there and they can be used. And some
I'd
files
love to
there.
have one of those posture chairs, 'cause ours is raggedy and all, but they belong with that set and all, and I think that it for gesture of goodwill that it would go along with the Remington Rand furniture.
But now you said the district bought that.
No, well, that's theirs. They bought
Oh,
it.
the typewriter and stuff.
The only thing we have of
Special
any
money.
real value that goes down there would be the typewriter and the filing cabinet. You had to have those to put them in, so we have the filing cabinet.
Did I understand the treasurer to report that the finance committee evaluated this at $1,000?
No, it's more than that. It's, I
It's
think,
more than
the auditor
1,000.
said 2,700 is what they, but there's been depreciation. They haven't taken depreciation off, and now you're going to have to make inventories every year. Auditor didn't do them on ours, and we were penalized. We gave it to him to do, and he said it was unnecessary, but the tax man said you do, so
You
we
take
had to
off
pay.
depreciation.
And every year now, you will, from now on, you'll get depreciation on that. At the last audit, I believe you said it was 2,700.
2,700.
Yeah, and this was
It's
in
that
the
Cardex
auditor's report that we got.
That Cardex equipment, which would do the district no good.
Ms. Armstrong, does anybody have any idea of when this community, registry will be put into use? And how
Well-
long do you think we might have to pay this $125 a month holding this furniture in place?
To answer you as best I can, we sent out a report and we asked for some replies, really. And I didn't have a chance to ask if we have received sufficient supplies, because these we must have before we go to the next step about the registry. The next step being looking for someone to underwrite it and space.
We have had, to date, had 7 replies. I could furnish you one anytime from St. Joseph's. I have a feeling that, although I haven't received it, that Ms. Rosencrantz could probably do likewise. But I have received nothing from Crawford Lawn, and we have received nothing from the private duty section. Other than I have heard a lot of discussion about the last meeting, but no formal reply from them about the report as a whole. And the reports we have had from the from the people so far come from, well, I got one from Fountain View Convalescent Home, I got one from the Community Council, I got one from Mr. Slack, the president of the Kennestone Hospital, I guess, Authority. And I got a reply from Miss Graves. I got a very constructive one from both Miss Graves and Miss Henley. Well, all of them have been constructive, and then we got one from Rockdale County Hospital, and then Mrs. Budd from the Red Cross, and all of these have been very constructive in nature, and in general have indicated a great deal of interest in our going forward with the proposal.
Well, did they make some changes in it?
Yes,
So-
they did. There are
I know
some.
Miss Henry was making some.
There are
changes.
some things that
Couldn't go along with.
and we of course we realize that anytime we put out a proposal and ask for reactions, this is really what we want. And if proposals, if there's anything in the proposal, you know, that's come on in, that cannot be carried through, then this we want to know too. So we've got some very helpful suggestions about some changes that can be made.
Well, I called Miss Armstrong about our last meeting, it was our annual meeting, and that's the reason we couldn't discuss it at that time, but Miss Honeycutt
Well, I understand
presented it.
it was discussed though.
It was, Miss Honeycutt presented it, and it was not, they were not enthusiastic about it.
Well, I realize that, and I did not expect them to be.
Uh-huh.
There was the kind of reaction I sort of expected, but we have, as I say, we've received no formal communication from the section as
Well, we
such.
have not had a meeting of the executive committee yet. As you know, a lot of the private duties are busy getting their children back to school, and I think
Vacations have been,
Mhm.
one reason, I think, certainly.
Well, I think this may be one of the reasons that we haven't heard from a number of the
I mean,
agencies.
at least for the first of the year, wouldn't it?
I would
July
think
and
so,
August.
that
July
we
and
And
August.
really
then, if
would.
we had to pay $125 a month, October, November, December, that's gonna be $375, even that far on just a storage place for the furniture.
Well, I understood Miss Mace to, say, sister, that, the recommendation would read only the month of October. And,
That's what it said.
so I didn't make any particular response, to Miss Mace, but my feeling was that it doesn't look, hopeful, that we would come anywhere near being able to do anything by that time, at this point. So my own feeling is that if some other arrangement can be made to take care of this, and it wouldn't be, might not be as expensive, it'd be better to let the office go.
Well, it'd be
There's-
like to sell what we have and then give them the money for a start, instead of paying rent to
They'd pay
keep
so
it.
much more though to get what they'd need. You wouldn't get 1/5 of the value of it if you try to sell furniture. And the point of it is whether or not you get this space.
But you say some of this stuff was bought 50 years ago, practically.
Well, most of this furniture was bought in 1960, the Remington Rand and all. The records and the books and things like that go
And
back.
every day we're
No.
getting new ideas on how to file and how to keep things. And even if it costs a little more, it might be more efficient. I'm not one to keep, I've worked in old places a long time, for all of the years.
And records can be destroyed after a number of years.
Well,
What
you-
good would they be?
Well, the records
We've done
are-
taken care of that.
They're
Oh,
taken care
That's been
of.
taken care of. They are asking you permission to destroy the old ones, the one that can be destroyed, but the others are down in the office.
There's not any guarantee they would want the same office space. In fact, the chances are that the new one might want a different office. So I would like to speak, toward, closing it up.
Well, where would you store your furniture?
Maybe there's some
That's sad.
individual
That's
somewhere
disposed
who's
of.
got room or something. Maybe somebody in
How
private.
much would it cost to start?
It costs a great deal to move it. That's the bad thing in moving it back, wherever
Or
you
would it
want
cost, would it cost $375?
Oh, yes, $24 for just 3 pieces, one file,
You
one,
probably could have gotten.
But
all
that's
that
by
done
the hour,
today.
isn't it? They
That was
might
the
have
Dime
moved the
Messenger.
whole thing for the same amount.
I don't think
And then
so.
the thing is,
They're
we'll
heavy.
have that, this is going to happen anyway, whether or no. The question is, you're sort of gambling on somebody picking up and using that same office and the same furniture. It's got to be liquidated, so there's no question about
And
that.
part of it doesn't belong to us anyway, according to Miss Denham.
And we're paying rent on something that doesn't belong to us then.
Well, it would seem, would it be possible, to get cleared if there needs to be, any of that furniture that does belong to somebody else, let them make their claim for it and take it out. And then go ahead and dispose of the rest of it, get as much money out of it as we can.
But as a matter
And
of good,
transfer that to the district.
as a matter of goodwill to the other people, to start off the registry, I thought that was what they were hoping they'd do.
Well, I don't know.
This is what I was thinking, they could sell it,
You-
to give it, to sell it, whatever we do, and then you give
Sell it
them
and
back
give the that much money,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
more than you
start with
office.
to help with a little bit of, work that we're doing in the committee would be helpful, wouldn't it, Ms. Armstrong?
If it was 6 months that we waited around here to get this thing settled down, we'd have about $700 or better tied up in that little space
That's
over
right.
there, no good but just a space.
Well, you know, the
And they'd
problem
much
is,
rather have the $700 to get something new.
the problem is even just getting people to act, and they're awful slow, we have found that.
Yeah, I know this is true, I'm not blaming you all.
No, and I really don't mean that, I'm just stating a fact. It's awful hard to get people to act.
Are you in favor of keeping the office?
No, I'm not.
You
I think
speaking,
this
you
is a-
giving her
No,
support.
That's right,
No,
that's
no.
right.
Is anybody ready to, make a motion in any direction?
May I say something first? The private duty section has been at a handicap about replying because we had just gotten in touch with our new secretary. So, we'll get a reply as soon as we can.
We're talking now, we haven't had a meeting either, so we're waiting for some replies before we go further.
Well, couldn't you, may I make a suggestion? Couldn't you give to the month of October, and if no definite proposal has been forthcoming, that we be authorized to go ahead and sell it then?
We already paid till October. It's through October that she's talking about in this, the month of October.
That's a lot of money to pay for a closed office.
Well, who would have the responsibility of disposing of this furniture? The finance committee?
Well, it says that down here that the proposal from finance committee was that disposition of furniture and equipment in the nurse's professional register be left up to discretion of the board of directors of this district. C, the board would have to take final action on it. I was saying, because the property belongs to the organization, as Ms. Armstrong brought out, to me it belongs to the organization, it's up to us to settle it. We might need some legal advice, but it's our responsibility. And if we can't come to any decision tonight, I need more information. I would suggest that we, rent it another month too.
It's $125 worth.
That this
Ma'am,
could be,
this is one
this
that's
one
supposed to be
little bit could
discussing
at
that.
least be disposed
never
of
had
tonight.
it.
We'll continue to work on this.
Oh, we did have a motion, yeah, didn't need a second, I'm sorry, I was saying I didn't have a motion. Are you ready for the question? I was remiss, we had a recommendation from the Finance Committee which required no second, and we've been discussing. Are you ready for the question?
Are we gonna vote on those recommendations separately?
Yes.
Which one we gonna vote on?
This one that we're talking about now is that disposition of furniture and equipment of the nurse's professional registry be left up to the discretion of the board of directors. The district, yes,
So you get back to, you need another.
I'm going whole hog. And
Sugar free and everything.
a low calorie diet for lunch.
I didn't eat
I
me
have a
lunch.
cookie.
I second the motion, if, the recommendation, no, you have to have a.
The recommendation is that the disposition of the furniture be left up to the board of directors. It doesn't say how you dispose of it.
Make a motion in connection with that.
We already have it.
This is from the finance
This is
committee.
their
so now,
recommendation.
are you in favor of it or not?
Right.
Question.
Then we can vote about disposing of it.
I move this board.
Now, wait a minute. All those in favor of the recommendation of the finance committee, which is that the disposition of this furniture be left to this board, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It is carried.
Now we have to have.
Now, well, we didn't vote on that one. Because we thought, remember we talked about it and we thought it referred back to this. We had to know something first? Or did we?
Yeah, you voted
Oh,
on the
yeah,
funds.
this is
the
the
funds.
one I'm talking about.
This one carried.
You heard about the bill,
You
that's
mentioned
been,
getting,
Yeah.
legal counsel on it.
Well, what we were talking about, the disposition of the board, we may have to do it by referendum. If there's any question at all about who this belongs to, we can't dispose of it till we do. So then, right?
That's right, and I think Thursday when this is brought up, there's somebody gonna come forward with whatever it is they own.
I wish we'd gotten it out before we had to clean it out.
All right.
You did a good inventory though, didn't you?
Now, the other thing that Sister read, that the registry office be retained for October if necessary to prevent the paying storage on the equipment while the new registry is being formed. This is a recommendation of the finance committee.
Well, that doesn't say,
Requires no second.
What
This
is
is
it
open
now?
for
What is it
discussion.
now? I missed.
it doesn't say you have to keep it for
Said
October.
may be
It just says you
retained
need
for
it. If you
October
find you
if
need it.
necessary. But we've been talking all around this because we're talking about $125 now.
It says if
If
necessary
necessary.
to prevent paying storage. So you going,
Well, you gotta
Could
pay
be
rent
whether
till
you
you
would-
can sell the furniture, and so this says if necessary, but we can make another motion to try to sell it if you want.
Rent
Right.
is paid through September already.
And it's already the ninth.
Mhm.
I'm not sell this furniture in 3 weeks. You may, but if you don't, you gotta pay rent, that's what I'm trying to say.
Well, storage wouldn't be $125 a month, I don't believe, though, do you? Do you think so? On that one?
Miss Atkins was saying it's not so much the storage, it's moving
It's
it.
moving it in storage, or how you gonna move, you have to get out if you sell the place.
It's got how many?
Probably cost
And
what,
move
about
it, you gotta move it
$60?
someplace, you
Cost
can't
you at
sell
least
it.
75 to 100 to move it.
Well, Carolyn, my aunt moved from Decatur and it cost her $54 for three living room and
If you get a
Can't believe
moving
it
van,
costs that
moving
Company.
concern, they consider
now
two
not buying
things.
messenger, there's
Hours
I know they
and
are.
poundage, and the poundage will not be very much.
And there's a
It's
thing
the-
over
it's the
on Decatur
distance,
that
too.
doesn't
If you
do
let
interstate, so
somebody-
it's $4 an hour cheaper, I think, than these others.
And if the person doing it is going to storage, you see, if you call somebody like that, then they would be taking it into storage.
Sites in his point.
Yeah,
No, I didn't have
storage
far to
space,
go,
wouldn't
but
they
it
haul
was
it?
the idea.
Well, that's the whole point, you see.
Well, I was
It's
gonna
gonna
wonder,
work like
where
the
we gonna
Dickens do.
move it,
Getting ready
and,
for 'em.
you know, where we gonna move it if we wanna move it, even if it doesn't cost anything, and then you gotta move it someplace, so you gotta sell
Well,
it.
when
or
some
you gotta
office
store
supply
it.
company that buys used furniture buy it,
Alvin Allen does, but they don't give you anything for it. We tried to sell a sofa we had and we didn't get enough to pay for it, so we gave it to the elevator people.
I feel sure that we're not going to get much money
That's
if
right.
we sell this,
When you
but
use
why pay out something that eventually is not gonna give us much money
That's what
anyhow?
I say, that 125 would be better
Sell it
to give
enough.
the new organization.
Does anybody wanna take a definite stand?
I move that we,
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I'm out of order.
excuse me,
We have a recommendation.
okay.
The recommendation is that the registry office be retained for October if necessary to prevent the paying storage on the equipment while the new register is being formed. Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of the recommendation of Finance Committee, to wit, that the registry office be retained for October if necessary to prevent paying storage on the equipment while the new register is being formed. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no.
No.
Motion is, the recommendation lost.
Would a substitute be in order, or
Oh, you can make a new
Make a
motion
motion.
now,
motion?
if you want to.
I haven't thought it through, and this may not be the feeling of the group, but I believe it is. That the registry office be, the rent for the office be paid through the month of October, if necessary, until the furniture can be sold and or disposed of? Is that more what we're wanting?
That's the same thing you got,
That's what it says.
Let me,
isn't it?
No, I felt that was to move toward the new registry, and I'm not that optimistic that we'll do it either, but Sisters pointed out that it may take that long to sell it, and we have to have something worked out.
I would like to ask a question if I could, and that is if we're gonna have to do something, I find you do it if you have a deadline a little more quickly. And if 3 weeks, last, we've got 3 more weeks in September, we could probably get some used furniture place to come and see if they wanted it, maybe they would take it. You know, just hauling it out would be something, I get
Yeah.
from what you all are saying. Why not do this and think about closing up, the end of September?
I'll second your motion if
Now,
you'll make it.
whatever's left in this budget that you were speaking of, I'm just asking the group. I'll be glad to make it into a motion if it suits everybody, but I would think that when the new register starts, that a gift of money to help them start might be better than some used furniture in an office that might not suit, the new sponsoring group.
Well, that furniture is in good condition, and when they go to buy it, they're gonna have to pay at least.
Well, this is true, but it's like Pauline says, you know, it is old.
The 1960s, about 8 years old, the furniture part, 9 years old.
That'd be $125 saved plus the amount of moving, which would
Might be
be
able to get them to
maybe
take it
$200
if we didn't get thrown out of it.
you could save by not taking October rent. I'll second your motion if you make that. You phrased it, you phrased it good.
I don't know, we see what Alvin Allen does, and they buy it because
Well, now, who would do this?
Take it.
Special
are we on the back?
Could
It's on the back, yeah.
would the finance committee do that?
I want to know what I'm fixing to ask for, what relationship would the private duty section have to the new reason I'm asking this is that if they ever have, I really don't know, I ought to know it, but I don't know. But anyhow, I wonder if that group would be willing to pay the storage on this, so that they wouldn't have to start off $1,000 or $2
That group doesn't have money.
behind.
As of now, Miss Mallory, all we have is an ad hoc committee,
Uh-huh.
set by this group to work toward a new registry. We don't have a registry.
Uh-huh.
We
I
have
knew we
nothing
didn't have
right
a
now.
registry, but I was thinking of the private duty
they
section,
don't
I
have
don't know their relationship with the registry.
Why don't we, may I make a suggestion, before we do something drastic with that furniture and take a great loss on it, let somebody find out how much we're going to get out of it. And then if somebody won't accept it and keep it in storage for us until the new one's started, as a matter of goodwill. Couldn't we do something like, I hate to see it go
Well,
and
to
us
keep all that
jeopardize.
furniture and then that we don't get the registry.
Well, we
There's a-
still
there's a
sell
good
it. If
possibility.
somebody would hold on to it for us for
We'll make a
nothing.
bit more out of it because we will have already paid rent or,
But she's talking about somebody keep it.
I'm talking about if we
Some
can,
individual. keep it.
somebody, if somebody would be willing to get out and find out how much money we could get out of it, and surely some hospital or the medical academy or somebody would let us store it, or maybe the cancer home, until we find out if they're going to need it. If we find out we're not going to get much out of it, say a couple of $100, then it certainly would behoove us to go ahead and hold on to it, to give it to the new registry. And we wouldn't be out anything, because they, except maybe holding the money for the little time being.
I agree with Miss Atkins about that.
That we
Because
find out how much we'll get out of
And
it.
you gotta have some kind of a desk in front of you to start with, and if we start off $1,000 or $2 in the hole for furniture, I think it's worth a gamble myself, I don't.
Maybe the cancer home would let us add it out there if they have extra storage place, or
I don't mean to pay rent like on the room to keep it in it.
could
But
you,
if you could manage somehow to hold to the furniture rather than just to,
could you let the finance committee go ahead and see if they could find means of getting it stored for the time being?
Or
That's
did
what
they
I
do
thought
the
from what you all said.
storing of the
Without
other?
paying the rent for the $125, if they could get it stored free,
Did
until
they
we
do,
find
did the
out.
finance committee do the storing?
They
in
did
the
the,
cancer
yes.
home?
Miss Mace closed it and did the storing there and got the 2 orderlies from Ponce to Leon to move. Yes, we're gonna go. It would seem,
Madam,
I believe there is not a motion on the
I
floor.
would,
You didn't finish yours, did you?
I'll withdraw mine.
Ms.
I've
McLaughlin
got
trying to
the,
make one.
I move that the board appoint a committee to dispose, either by selling the furniture or finding a place to store it without charge, such as hospital, cancer home, or individual, by the end of September 1968.
The second,
that's just what I was.
It's been moved and seconded that a committee be appointed by this board to make some dispositions of the furniture. I'm not repeating the whole motion. In the discussion.
To dispose of it either by selling it or finding a place that it can be stored.
In discussion. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. That leaves us with a charge then of committee.
How about the private duty registry committee?
finance committee has already done this, business with the storing the other, haven't they? And they probably know pretty much what
Well,
to
it
do.
might be, I just got the impression today Miss Mace was tired out trying to fool with it. That's why I wondered if maybe the private duty registry committee.
Let them do it.
should
Let them
have-
do it.
The
happy
motion
about
you've just made was, what, that a committee be appointed by the board. So now it is up to the board to appoint a committee. Do I have any,
Would you all like more coffee? Because I should be glad to give you.
Surely was nice.
Oh,
Oh, excuse me.
That's plenty, that's good, though.
Finished?
Anybody like more coffee? Because we got plenty. How about?
Certainly was nice.
You know,
Probably like-
when you don't eat lunch.
Yeah, and then come and eat cookies. All right. I know time, and I had no idea this would take up this much time. Does anyone have
I
any?
move that the finance committee be, named to continue this, to carry out this. I believe
Remind
that
you who's
they-
on the finance committee, Mrs. Garland.
Well, couldn't the chairman of the private duty section let them feel a part of it, to work with them?
But it belongs to the 5th district.
The finance committee would be the logical one, it seems like, to,
I think so. No, I'll find that.
If she's made that motion, I just got to
Because
feel
it's
something.
big, great, brawl house out
They haven't said
Okay. Hey, is there a second?
Is there a second to the motion? What was that?
I'm afraid
That the finance committee carry out the mandate of the previous motion. I'll second it. Oh, no, thank you.
What was that, the finance committee?
Well, Miss Mace made it kind of positive in her conversation, that she was kind of worn out with it. I know that too. And I know Miss Garland is
And Miss
able,
Garland's
and
sick
who's the
and-
third?
Who else?
Sister Christie.
I am, and I've
Sister
got a
Christie.
new class of students, and I don't know whether Miss Mace would have the time or not.
could you,
I mean, I know she'd have the time, I wish she could do it, like she's really done so
Well,
much.
point
And Miss Mace
somebody
has
from
incurred
the
a lot of
register committee,
expense too, I think, on her own.
on it with the finance committee and let them work together, wouldn't that be a?
My feeling is that that the private duty register committee should take
Does
this.
this have to be anybody from this, does it have to be from the board or anything? Oh, Harriet Williams is perfectly free now. You know, she's like the idle rich right now. I wondered if she would be a good person to put some energies on it.
Who's on the
Is Harriet
private
a
duty
member
register
of
I
our-
committee?
don't think she is, I'm not
I-
sure, but I don't.
I didn't
Who's
remember
ma'am?
her private duty register committee.
Oh,
Can't swear to it, but I don't believe
Because
so.
maybe they could find out who's got the, who owns some, and get it all
well,
cleared
I
up at
know
once.
who has the bills, and I'll get her to get them up for me.
Why about the executive committee of the private duty, since they feel that they've had a great concern? I mean,
But it
it's-
belongs to the 5th district.
But you said
You
there's
already
some
know
that
the
don't,
50.
there's some
No.
that doesn't, and I was just thinking, well, yeah, maybe we could get it all cleared up at once.
I didn't make
that
a
way.
statement that it didn't belong, I just said some of the private duties bought it.
Well-
But as Ms. Armstrong pointed out, that it could still belong to the 5th district even though we bought it.
Well, anyway, I just thought it might be helpful if they, participated in the disposal or retaining.
How about, y'all, you'll
Excuse me.
use a community
Hadn't tasted
council?
it.
Don't y'all plan to
Dispose
use
of the
that?
register.
What about asking them to?
We don't
We're
have
not
any
that
plans
far.
to use anybody yet.
Oh.
We haven't asked anybody. We don't feel like we can go any farther until we get reasonable endorsements or reactions from people.
Well, then Ms. Honeycutt gave you the reaction from the private duty section.
No, ma'am, I have received nothing from anybody.
No, I don't mean in writing, I meant she told
Well,
me.
we have to have it in writing, I feel,
Yes.
don't you?
I wonder if I
Oh,
could,
was there a second
the
to Ms.
finance
Hanson's?
committee, including the, chairman of the register committee? Or, did you say Ms.
Chairman, Ms.
Honeycutt?
Honeycutt's chairman of the register committee.
Well-
She'd help, I'm sure.
Hmm?
I believe she would help if she can.
The finance committee, including the, would you say register committee? That would be an amendment to this motion if you want to bring in the register committee.
If anybody would like to come out and see the space I have and think it cannot be locked up and think it would be safe out there,
How many
they
times
could
do
put
I
it
have?
outside. It's
The chairman is just
broiler
one
house.
person.
But it's built, it's a concrete block and it has aluminum roof.
Is there a second to Ms. Hanson's motion?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. that
The
Continue.
finance committee,
With the assistance
with,
of the
with
registry.
assistance of a registry committee, with assistance of registry committee, carry out the previous motion to dispose of the registry furniture by the end of September.
any further discussion?
I put previous motion.
Don't put previous motion in
You just
there.
put what it was, to dispose of the furniture.
Dispose of the
You don't know where
That's all.
it'd be.
All those in favor of the Finance Committee with the assistance of the Registry Committee disposing of the furniture which is left in the Henry Grady Hotel,
She said.
By the
I
end
don't
of
know who
September.
seconded it. Who said
by the end of September, please say aye. Cynthia Mallory.
Ms. Armstrong, oh, excuse me.
All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no.
Does anyone live southwest, if they like to come out and look at that space I have and think that it would be all right?
This committee can do it.
Refer it to the committee. I
We'll,
think
we'll
that's good.
let them know about that.
Motion is carried.
And that was, I'm trying to help.
Yeah,
I'm
but then
trying
they
to
come
help.
down here. Okay, is that all then?
I believe,
She wants permission to destroy the old records that they have. Sister, you still have those recommendations from the Finance Committee to destroy the ones that are already in storage. Number one.
Sister, would you read this?
That all registered records necessary for legal retention as directed by the auditors be retained on file in the Fifth District headquarters, and all other records now stored be destroyed by burning.
You've heard the recommendation of the Finance Committee. What is your, is there any discussion? Are you ready for the question?
Question.
All those in favor of retaining those needed for legal matters and destroying other records not needed by burning them, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion is carried. Now, let me see what else. Thank you. Oh, that was a long. May we have a report of the Executive Secretary?
I have given you a written report. That doesn't include the thousands of letters and announcements that have been out, and it's been particularly difficult with the registry closed. The calls are so much more numerous that we've been going in on Sundays for about the last 3 weeks, other than last Sunday. Routine office details have been carried out and books up to date.
Now, our agenda calls for a report of standing committees, and if there are no objections, we ask for a report of the Finance Committee. The reason for this coming out of the order listed is that Sister Kristen has to go somewhere. Sister Kristen, may we have a report of the Finance
I
Committee?
have two more recommendations from the Finance Committee that do not refer to the registry, but I'll read them after the annual report from the Finance Committee. And let's see. The accomplishments for the last year, district expenditures were kept within the budget, but quota of members has not been achieved. We secured $5,000 for the 5th District Treasurer, making it possible to continue operation for the balance of the year, and we received $5,000 by a special committee December for the registry.
We have two recommendations, two further recommendations of the Finance Committee.
You like to you wanna read them or hear them?
I have a copy right here. The one being that the executive secretary salary be increased $100 per month, which will be comparable to the beginning salary recommended by ANA. Is it your wish that we take these up separately? Take them up separately, I hear.
Would you like me to leave?
No.
Anybody?
Would you like the executive secretary to leave? Would you feel freer to discuss this if Ms. Atkins left the room?
That would make it $650 a month, and for the benefit of anybody likes to know. And if you know, that's the beginning salary, $7,500 for a practitioner, not the executive secretary. Theirs is recommended at either $8,500 or $9,500. So I thought I'd just clarify that that's the beginning of a practitioner, not the other.
Well, I just have one question to ask.
Yes.
This is certainly no reflection on Miss Atkins, but I'm assuming that you think then, sister, that financially we can do this. Okay. Then I certainly would be all in favor of the
Well, I'd like to
this
ask a
if it
question.
can be afforded.
We haven't had as many members this year as we had last year.
Well, the secretary got the money to keep the rest of the year, the $5,000, and asked for that much to be appropriated for a few years.
I'm not saying this against Carolyn, no
Mhm.
reflection on Carolyn, but we don't have as many members this year as we had last year. We've had to beg for money. How can we keep begging from the public for money to carry our expenses? I don't think this is fair to the organization. And I'm not saying Carolyn doesn't need the money, as far as salary is concerned, that we shouldn't meet the minimum salary. But I'd like to know how the Finance Committee thinks we will do this without begging money from some beneficiary.
How much did we get when we sent out the letter?
Only $210. Well, now, when we asked for this, or as you know, we didn't have $295 left for the first. And when we asked for this to help us get on our feet financially, we were given the check immediately, a personal check for $5,000, and we were told that they would consider it to give us enough for the next 2 or 3 years to get on our feet. Now, if anybody can go in that office and do the work of 8 or 10 people
Miss,
for
this is
less,
not the question.
uh-huh.
I'm not
Well,
questioning
the
your
question
work.
is, I can't afford to work for
How
less, and if we can go that far and can't go any further, then we can close up.
That's all right.
If we
I want
can't,
to know how we can pay it without having to beg money. Are we going to get this many members to support our organization?
well, the further recommendations were that we ask everyone to go all out on it.
I know this, we ask this every year, Miss Atkins, we ask everybody this every year, you go get yourself a member and bring them in, but we don't. So then we gotta face the real fact of, can we support an executive secretary in 5th District at $7,500 a year, with our own means, membership dues? And this is what we really are faced forgetting. What if somebody decides we're not gonna give this $5,000, and this could suddenly, just like this, somebody could die, this benefactor, and your money's gone.
We could have closed this September at the busiest time with your new officers going into effect, and I think it's in a way unfair to ask me to do less than a beginner would do when I have had about 20 years experience with it. Now, if anybody wants to go in there and work for less than that, I'm perfectly willing to do it. And if you feel that it's not justified, why, that's all right. It's
Well,
everyone's
when the
preference.
board's considering my salary, they don't say how much is Ms. English done every year, and what she's gonna do next year. They say, I got the money to pay Ms. English. Now, this is the way it's done in Fulton County. They probably don't know I'm out at work, that board does.
Miss English also too, that an institutional organization would set a salary for the job, and then,
I think we should have a salary set for the job, and I think we should have the money pay for the job, we should set the
Well, I
salary
think we
commensurate
do.
with our budget.
Well, we went over the budget very carefully, and the finance committee felt they did, they wouldn't make this recommendation, and if we don't have the money, I think we almost came to where we had to close this year.
We
I think
almost
we
had to close
pay-
it this year, we didn't have enough to pay Carolyn
Well, I
this
think
year.
we have to pay a just salary and just wage, I think we ought to close.
Carolyn had to get out and get a salary, and I feel like if they're going to start a new register, advocating 10,000 for a new
The board didn't
person,
tell you to do that, did they?
we
The
needed it.
board didn't tell you to go get the money to pay your salary, though.
But only 2 people called about it when we let them know that we were running so late and showed any concern about it, which was very discouraging. You don't know how hard it's been, even just trying to go through the year, not even knowing where things were coming from.
That's
But
what
I
I'm
feel that
saying.
we're going
We
to-
shouldn't set our goals so high if we can't pay it.
I feel we're going to enter a new era with your economic security program, and I think that the plans are underway there where the organization can prosper. And if it doesn't, then I think by the time we get through in the middle of next year, we find we can't go any further, well, we'd have to make some other plans. But right now, while you've got a real good program underway, if you want someone else in there and can get someone else in there for less, then that's quite all right with me at any time.
I think we
I'm
have
all
it.
for
This,
big
I don't
salaries.
believe this
I'm
is,
all for that, but I wanna
this
be
is
sure
what
we
Miss
wanna pay
English
it.
is, trying to, convey at all. I think she's just wanting to be assured that you will get paid whatever is agreed.
Well, when you can't, well, then I probably would work for a whole lot less, just like I promised to do this last 3 months. If you didn't have anybody, it would have been a great sacrifice to have gone in there and carried that district at $100 a month. That would be $25 a week, the equivalent less than 1 day. It would take more than 1 day to do it. I was willing to do that, and I think that if I could gamble on that little bit, they could gamble a little bit on me in making it secure. The easiest thing for me to do would be to walk out and go on to St. Simon's, take care of my responsibilities and my family. But I feel like I can do still a good amount of good in the district, and I don't think that you're going to get anyone that's going to work any harder in the district for any less than the
I think
six
it's pretty
fifty.
disgraceful to have the executive secretary make less than a beginning practitioner.
too.
I mean, I don't
I
think
think
that
it's
is
disgrace to have any nurse working for that, but we
Yes.
do.
I do, but I think it's even more of a disgrace to have a
This is
20
our
year service
professional
person,
image that
right.
we're projecting,
I mean,
and I
that's
think we ought to
disgrace.
pay at least the minimum.
I
If
think
if the
so.
finance committee says we can get money without us having to beg for it, I'm all for it.
We could even have a few money raises.
Is there further discussion on the matter that is before us? And the matter being that the executive secretary's salary be increased $100 per month.
For the remainder of the year.
Well, we haven't gotten to that yet.
No.
This is 1969.
It would begin into
Oh,
October the
that's-
1st.
No, this was a recommendation for
There are
next
2
year.
motions. The
This
first
is-
one would be for 69, and then
Right.
the second motion was that it begin in October, and we took
But
care of
we
it in the
haven't brought
69
that one
budget.
up yet.
Oh, this is 69.
Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of increasing the executive secretary's salary $100 per month, and in this motion it is implied beginning 1969 because we're talking about the budget is proposed. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. It is carried.
But it'll actually start next month.
Now, wait a minute. there's
No,
another motion.
we haven't
She's got
voted.
another motion for that.
There is another recommendation. We read these two together, but there is another recommendation that the executive secretary's salary increase go into effect October the 1st, 1968. It's a discussion.
Again, the question, we have the money to pay it. Sister?
We've got $6,000 now, which we haven't had, and it will take care of it.
Where did that
Tell me
come
this,
from?
And
what
we're
is-
putting $2,000 back into savings tomorrow, so we get interest on that.
Why does the district ask for grants all the time? Why can't they do some fundraising?
We
give
tried it.
dances and things
We
like
tried
that.
it. I won't discuss any further because I
We
feel
tried
I
to
should.
get this board to do that, you know. I think
Membership
Yeah, it
committee
got
let them-
tossed around
Yeah,
right here in this
yeah.
group.
Sure did, but never got any further.
I would excuse me.
What
If
does
we
the
ever-
chair want?
No, all I was going to say was that I would feel a lot better by our having fun, this is my personal opinion, not the chair's opinion, that we would have fundraising things, even if it took all year long to do several things, than to be on the charity end of some organization.
I would too.
It's my personal feeling.
I think many of us probably feel this way. Every time I hear about something, we've gone out and asked.
That's what I wanna know.
Is it an anonymous?
Where did we
group
get
that
the
can't be
$6,000?
Hmm?
Where did we get the $6,000? Is
Uh,
that a secret or?
They
I don't
prefer
know
being
that it
anonymous
do.
in making this. It was a personal check from one of our
Oh.
friends who has given us grants. And it was, at this time, they felt that it was important enough for us to keep the organization going, particular while the register was closed and while the need of a professional organization, and hoping that we could get on our feet, that they would discuss it in their appropriations in November and honor the request. It's been talked about sometime, way back yonder, when Miss Garland was president, that they help us get on our feet, and when they make the allocations of $300,000 or $400,000 in November, that we be given, that start over that polio fund, that we asked for the Fulton County to help us, and then the letter was referred to them. But at any rate, that will be discussed in November to help us get on our feet. And it doesn't mean that we're going to sit there and do nothing about it, or we can get out, and I think it'd show goodwill if we get out and do something about it anyhow. The more money we have, the more things we can do. We can resume our publication. We can get our directory out and do the things we need to do instead of skimping on postage.
Well, really, if we have this Mr. Kravitz who's going to help with, salaries, it may be that we bring back more members into the organization, those that we lost with private duty. The years. I'm speaking of my own state too, because they all be members.
Are you ready for the question on the recommendation?
Question.
All those in favor of the executive secretary's salary increase go into effect October the 1st, 1968, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It's carried.
Now you go pay your bills.
Listen.
Are there any more recommendations? Is this complete your report from
That's
finance?
the budget.
Oh, the budget, excuse me.
I earn every dime of it 100 times a day, if anybody wants to know. Just the tensions and
This has been any question at all. I really don't care.
it has been ugly.
I think the concern is that we must do something to support our own officers.
To live
This
within
is-
our budget,
that-
our income.
We got to get
is
the money.
something that the finance
Oh,
committee has to
Casey's on
do
the way
too.
I'll keep-
We can't set up a budget that's not realistic.
You knew the calls that I got at night. It's almost to the point you need an unlisted telephone number.
Well, I think that could be arranged.
But it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be quite right.
I don't know, I put mine on unlisted number.
You did?
Sure
They
did.
have to come to it if we don't hurry and get a registry.
May we have
You wanna have a register,
budget,
can't always fill
proposed
calls.
budget, please.
Say we didn't have a register.
May we have a proposed budget, please?
Does everybody have
May we have the proposed budget, please?
Yes, Madam Chairman, everybody have a copy of the proposed budget for 1969. This is just I think it's a couple thousand. I should have brought last year's budget over last year. And last year, we also figured out the projected membership we needed to get the budget, so we felt when we met that we would get that and hopefully more membership to carry the increase, and the finance committee felt at that time pretty comfortable about covering, this budget. The first item, as you see, is the grant. Why don't I just look down at the items and you look across and see the amount, since everybody has one. These are the usual expenditures of the 5th district: the grant, the telephone, schedule cards for meeting dates, bulk mailing fee, the audit for the 5th district, postage and mailing, legal counsel, the parliamentarian salary, this salary for the executive secretary. Office supplies, secretarial service, and operating costs. The employee social security tax.
You want to leave it out next
And
time?
this has got a little plus at because it might be a little more. And insurance and bond, treasury and executive secretary. To be bonded, this is the cost of those people being bonded. And the answering, service, the city and county tax, rent of the safety deposit box, flowers for friends and benefactors of the organization. The, section expense, which each section gets $15 per year. Convention expense to send the president and the executive secretary. And we really left this pretty much at a minimum. I don't know whether 200 is going to cover it or not. And the expense account, travel and meeting for the president. These are business meetings. And entertainment and awards, and miscellaneous, and the printing, which would include the directory and the office equipment. And the total budget for 1969 is $15,002.50. And for 68, if I recall, Carolyn, it was 13,000.
That's right.
757.
750 a fair.
This is a
I'd like to say anything to me, I'll tell the board not to put this $20 for meeting.
Oh,
We had it last year, I didn't know we
The
weren't.
parliamentarian would like to make a statement about, something, not
it's
the
a-
amount, but something that's written into the budget.
It's all right for you all to know that I get $20, but that is not, you're talking about minimum fee. This is below what a parliamentarian is supposed to charge. So don't let it be known that that's all I'm charging.
That's all you get.
We'll leave it off and make
So that's
We're
it.
cheapskates, and you're gonna protect us, huh?
This budget will be presented at the meeting,
Minus that.
so while we're thinking about this, prior to accepting the budget, could we agree that we take this off? You haven't printed that many, have you?
Well, we weren't gonna print them to circulate for the whole
Okay.
group there to be read by the finance committee chairman, and I'll be sure that she will take it off.
So that
And I
comes
can
off.
delete it on any further printings. I didn't have but a few more because I waited to see what you were gonna do. A few extras, and it can easily be taken off the stencil.
The finance committee recommends this budget, that recommends the adoption of this budget. Any questions or discussion?
I'd like to ask a question about the directory, and I really am showing my ignorance.
We sell ads for that directory, and it usually pays within $100 of what it cost us, usually between $400 and $500. We sell the ads, but we have to pay for it first, and we leave that in case we have other printings, just in case we don't sell the ads. Now, this year we started out, and of course we realized we weren't going to have enough money to pay the printer. We got the Coca-Cola ad, and last year was $482 worth of ads, so it took just very little. But we leave that because now if you want some bylaws or extra printing programs or other things come up, it gives us a little leeway there on other
Well,
printings.
this is what I was gonna ask
It
next.
does,
If we have new bylaws, will we have
They
to
are-
print them?
They are interchangeable on here, and we probably won't buy any office equipment, so between the office equipment and that 600, it may be able to take care of your bylaws.
If at the risk of being shot, could I ask
Yes.
what's in the safety deposit box?
Oh, we've got we have a good many papers in the safe deposit box, and we've had a good many robberies in the building there.
I
So,
wasn't sure, you know, How about the wheels?
We had 3 robberies in our own,
policies?
building there, and the another thing about it, when we have monies and maybe the bank's closed and something comes in, you don't have time, you know, or they stay open after 2, when I'm going out, well, it comes in, we used to keep our bonds, that's why we got it. We've had it all these years, but now it's to the point that if monies come in, you don't have time to post them and make up a bank deposit or anything like that. It's very safe there until you can get back in over the weekend.
Any other questions about the proposed budget?
What's increased on it, other than the salary? Taxes?
Travel expense.
Yeah, we increased some of the postage and mail.
I think that was
too,
lessened,
because
wasn't it?
each year that increases.
Travel expense
You lessened
account.
your part and you put a little bit more on mine because I
325.
had to go to so many more meetings, because every time you park that car, it's 75 cents to $1. And every time you get on the streetcar, you don't come out. I mean, doesn't nearly cover.
What did you estimate the income, I don't know, on that?
Well, we get $10 per member. It's easy to know that we're.
And you've got 1,078 members.
This is estimated.
Our
on
estimated
about
last year was
1,300 members.
1,300, and I think 375.
Are you ready for the question?
Can I ask just one other thing? What's
Yes.
entertainment and awards?
Nurse of the Year. You know, we have a plaque, or either we do the bowls and the, yes, we gave Miss Vander Brady an award, and a plaque we
This year?
We
gave her.
don't have it anymore.
We
Oh,
don't
well,
call
that-
it Nurse of the Year, but we do have.
You
one.
have some kind of something. We gave the one to Miss Woodruff this year, you know, the plaque. And you always have some big activity centered around nurse recruitment. So,
There
you
was
have to have
some
some type of program.
expense connected with the program that we put on that whole day.
The May meeting, the May meeting.
Well, to whom do we send the flowers?
Every dead member of the 5th District.
Does that
We
mean
don't give them to them.
Well, $150 wouldn't be enough, because we have all private.
Well, you keep the money for the district, don't you simply go.
That reminds me, did you all
It
Mr.
fluctuates.
Rabbit's father die?
No, it fluctuates on, if we know about the death and they're a member. Now, when the budget got so low some time ago, the finance committee divided them. If they were members of the registry, the registry sent, and the district didn't. And then, if we took care of all other sections on that.
Well, I wasn't asking to be funny,
No.
but, some of our private duties have died this year that have been members. Had I known it, I would have called.
If you girls would let me know the deaths, we always ask you to let us know so they can put them in the memorial services.
First I've heard of it.
Well,
That's
is
the
it,
reason I asked.
Every
well,
month we have a
any
budget, it's on there.
rules, I
Well,
don't like the
I
term
just
rules,
wanted
but there
to know
anything
what's
put down
there.
in writing as to who,
It's all, since I've been in there, it's just been a standing rule, if they're a member of the district, if they're outside or a member of the family, we sent cards or expressions. But if they were, after the finances got so low, then they went ahead and said if they're a private duty, let the registry send, because they'd have to, and we divide the burden, if you wanna call it that, between the
Financial
two.
burden.
Financial
Well, I'm
burden.
glad to know that, because I'll
But
let
we
you
need
know
all
that.
of your
but
drafts
each
and obituaries to
section
go to
really
AJU.
should let her know.
Well, see, I didn't
Because
know.
we don't
Well,
know.
whoever gave you the papers and all should have told you about it, and we try to send it out. Right now, we know that there are other deaths in Atlanta, and I've almost threatened to send a notice and give you the list that I have, because they should have them for the memorial service, but I can't cover all of the deaths. I make them save my papers, and I have a fight every time I go out of town. I Saturday read the ones from last week to try to get them.
Are we ready for the questions?
I would like to ask a question before, if
Yes.
I may. I'm still a little confused as to when a budget is proposed, usually the income is estimated. And do you have an estimated income stated from the finance committee?
We estimated it, yes, according to the membership that we had been getting previously, and according to what the budget was last year.
What was the estimated income?
Well, I don't remember right
I
off.
don't think we can,
Liz?
consider a budget unless we first, have an estimated
Well,
income.
We based it on, Miss Armstrong, do you have that formula we had last year? the number of
Sister,
membership that we based? Andy,
I have it. It was estimated on a total of 1,376, which gave 13,760. And you had a budget estimate for 13,757.50.
Well, we estimated that, we would hope that the membership would be increased, and we have quite a few members that did not renew. And it was hopeful that we would have more membership than we did the previous year, and this is what we based the budget, total budget on. And
It
then
has to be
another
based
thing-
on
Over your
at least
estimated
1,500
income.
well,
members.
excuse me.
It'd have to be based on at least 1,500
Yes.
members, because $10 per member.
And then if we don't, to answer your question, a proposed budget always allows a little bit extra we could cut. Well, we could cut, for instance, some of the either printing, or maybe like we did last year, not mail out the meter. There are ways of cutting it, but this would take care of the things we felt that would, make the organization function as we would like for it to function.
Auditors told us to always to overestimate what you think that you would do, and if you live in your budget, fine, well and good, but never to cut it or underestimate it on that. I mean, we have that in recording when Mr. Jackson was in there and Mr. Hurst from our auditors, and it came up once before when they refunded the private duty nurses and cut their budget. And as you recall, Sister Cornell and some of the others, wanted to keep it the way it was, but they didn't. They refunded dues, and yet expenses were climbing.
If we are estimating this budget on, you say 1,500 members? 1,500 members, estimated times 20, times 10. And, an estimated income is always, I think it does something for you. Does for me. Oh, why are we always in such dire circumstances with the district? And I know that the nurses that I've come in contact with are pretty tired of this thing, because we're in the red too much. And why? They're asking why. And if you set up a budget without even an estimated income stated, I think there is where we are going wrong.
That's
If
right.
they know that we expect 1,500 members, and if we don't get it, we're going to have to cut some of these items.
Well, I think it was
Then,
just an oversight that it didn't get
Mhm.
tightened down here.
Well, it sure was a bad oversight not to get them.
Well, I don't
Well, I
think that
didn't-
they should be lambasted for it. I think anybody could make an error.
I left it off intentionally. Sister didn't
we
do it
should,
because we know we get $10 per member, and to me it's a matter of mathematics if you want
Well,
1,500.
then, if
And
you...
I left it
if
off
you-
intentionally.
If you
on-
left it off, then
I did it. It's not
Sister
Sister's
certainly...
fault.
Sister
Well, I'm not,
and the
I'm not
finance
trying
committee
to
shouldn't
lambaste anybody.
chastise.
That's
It's not a
half, one
personal
half of the
thing.
membership in the
Oh.
5th district. You have over 2,900 nurses, and that's just half of them active nurses if you set your goal. I left that off on that intentionally because with $10 per member, it seemed logical.
Well, you're on the
But
finance
everyone
committee.
doesn't know
I don't
that.
even know who the finance committee is, so I'm not
Well, it wasn't-
directing any personal.
It wasn't their fault. I left it off because it was so simple that $10 a member, you could easily see that it was 15.
Well, I think she's got a point, though,
I
it
will
should be
include it next
It
year if
should
you'd
be.
like to have it. I'll put it on there.
Yeah.
That's part of the budget.
Was timed up as it was submitted.
And the committee, would be good if they signed who the finance committee members are, because, this doesn't give me the information that I would like to have to vote on it.
I would like to ask a question, please, of the Finance Committee. It's in the new bylaws that the ballot be a mail ballot, and is there any provision in this budget for a mail ballot?
We increased this postage and mailing, I think, by a couple hundred from last year to take care of that. We talked about it at the meeting.
Are there any other questions regarding ballot, proposed budget?
Postage and mailing of the ballot.
Are we ready for the question?
What, is that $1,500 plus the grant that's coming in? Yeah.
No, this is membership.
No,
This is a proposed budget.
Yes, I know that. But
It doesn't have anything to do with what's on hand.
no, that was the estimated income though.
Yeah, that was not the
Members.
grant, to answer your question, that was just
Uh-huh.
membership.
Are you ready for the question? All those in favor of adopting the budget as submitted by the Finance Committee, please say aye. Opposed, no.
Thank
And
you,
more
guys.
abstaining than
Lot of
voting.
Extensions.
I'm still puzzled.
Does silence give the A vote, I vote?
as long as they're
As
here
long as
and
we
don't
had-
vote, they just may as
It's their
well have stayed
business.
at home on this
Well, I
particular
think
vote.
at the end of next June, when we find out and get our membership and see how we stand, we always make adjustments to whatever what we can do.
We
It's
had a
automatic
big
after you-
adjustment this year though,
After you,
that we shouldn't have to had. We shouldn't have had.
Hey, we,
This is 1300. We haven't gotten our books on to see what we.
the budget was adopted.
Well, that was
Proposed
on the
budget
big-
was adopted.
6,000.
May we have a report of the program committee?
I don't have a report. We have invited Mr. Cravett to come. We were not to have a program at the annual meeting, but it's the request of the president, and others who wanted to have him come and speak with us. I did call him, and he will be, at our meeting on Thursday. And he has planned a, small speech to tell us of his work. And he is willing to speak at any time, the group is ready for him to file the ballots, be counted, or whatever.
I just wondered if he was gonna be back since he had to go to New Jersey because his father died Friday.
I have not been notified.
Like today.
That's what I was
Oh,
told.
we will, then I don't think I did.
5,000.
Madam Chairman, may I?
No, we got through the ballots Thursday. Next time it's like,
May I make a statement on, Mr. Cravett? We had him at the Public Health Section meeting. I know I talked with, Marlott, and she sent some members over there. We had a real good attendance. It was one of the best. I think we must have had 60 or more, the Public Health Section of the 5th District. And, he created a great deal of interest and,
Is he a young person, middle age, old?
well.
He's, I'd say 40-ish.
Be like,
Between 40 and 50.
Between 35 and 40, I'd say.
Aside from that, I'm just asking, you know, if he's enthusiastic.
Yes, and he, the members that were present, many of them stayed to talk with him afterwards, and, I thought it was very good, didn't you? And he gave some literature.
We realized, and you heard the program chairman stating that at the request of the president, it didn't really come from me. But in talking with the state president, we felt that an exposure to the largest district in the state was worthy of not waiting for November. That's a long time. And we realized too that ballots have to, election has to take place and bylaws have to be gone over. And when we talked with Mr. Cravett, when Meryl talked with Mr. Cravett, she explained this to him, so he knows that it's an inopportune time in one sense, but we did need to, for him to be exposed to the whole 5th District membership, and this we felt was, may make us stay a little while, but he understands. May we have a report of printing, Carolyn?
We had very little printing done this year, so we didn't have any meetings but conducted it on telephone. we printed 1,500 scheduled cards early in the year, and then we got the membership certificates, which most of you have seen or that you approved. We circulated that they would be awarded Thursday. So far, although we've had many requests for it, we haven't had a list submitted for that. And then also we did the 1,100 copies of the proposed bylaws, which were printed in the form of special edition of your meter. You should have them. They were put in the mail last Wednesday, about 3:30, but some have not received them. That was all the printing. We didn't do the directories, you know, we lacked the funds. Now, here's the certificate. We sent this out with a delinquent list of memberships. We tried to make it attractive and to appeal to the people in key positions. And it's still available if anybody wants one to hang in the office. If you have a floor, a unit, or anything, you don't, or a doctor's office at all, you don't have to have a whole hospital. So if you qualify for it in your division.
There's no deadline to that.
Well, they had hoped and planned to award them at the annual meeting. And we haven't had anything further on that since we haven't had a single person to request it.
I could too. I hesitate because many of my units are one nurse centers. And I hesitate to get a certificate on that, but it is true.
The doctor's offices have them. It would be nice if you just have one or three or how many people, if the unit is 100%. It would encourage membership and probably a way of bringing it for them.
Ms. Pope is not here. She has previously given a report of the bylaws committee, and the bylaws have been to the state bylaws committee. I have not had anything from the state, but I assume by the fact that they have, the changes have been printed, that the chairman of the bylaws committee must have had some word from the state bylaws committee saying that these were in order. These will be presented at the meeting Thursday. I hope that if a situation arises, that there's a possibility may arise that you will help us with this. We tried to comply with the bylaws. The bylaws state that they must be circulated 2 weeks. No, it doesn't state that. Notice must be given, but at another time, this became quite a question, and we really had a wrangle over it, as you well know, because I believe our parliamentarian, if a point of order is called, will have to say that notice means that this must be in their hands 2 weeks so that they can see and compare. But we did everything we could to get them out. And as Ms. Atkins has said, some of them haven't reached you yet. I got mine last week.
I had to handfold 1,100, address 1,100, and then assort the 1,100, and got them in the mail the same morning. But just we get it the next day, which was last Wednesday.
Just pray that this question does not come up at this time. We try to be just as legal as we can with it. And we tried to get them out, but it may.
If it comes up, it has to be enforced. 2/3?
No. And would you answer?
The question is whether the notice, the 2 weeks notice. Now, a card did go out that there would be changes in the bylaws, not the change itself. Now, if you go back to your authority, when your authority says notice, it means a notice of what it's going to be. And this is the point. If someone calls a point of order, I think we'll just have to leave them alone until
Next year.
Or until the next meeting.
You can read them.
But I thought you could do it
It says any
How do you
meeting.
handle that? I need to know. for personal-
I think it says at any meeting.
By unanimous vote,
No, it says annual. It says annual
Annual, that's
meeting,
what I
so it'd
thought.
have to be
It'd
next, it'd be
meeting.
next year.
If this is
Annual
brought
meeting
up,
next year.
I would like to ask the parliamentarian at this point, I hesitate for all this to be recorded, but, do you think then that we should try to, bluff our way through this?
No, I don't think, if you try to bluff, then here again, you are showing that you aren't sure. Let it be open, say that you did have a card, that the bylaws would be amended, that there were, the card that she sent out, that card was received in the 2 weeks' time. And I think then if you would explain the difficulty in getting it printed and what happened, that probably the membership would go along with having had it in their hand the length of time that they have. But if someone does call a point of order, then the point of order would and if you ask me for a ruling, I would have to say they did not have the 2 weeks notice of the change. It's just that. But don't bluff it.
Okay.
We
I
could
need-
change the
I-
bylaws by a certain percentage of over anything into
You see, in here now with a unanimous vote, I think you could, where you,
99% vote of the member present, and of course that's the.
no, now that's
Five.
the change, Let me get it right here a minute. These bylaws may be amended at any annual meeting again, you see, by unanimous vote without previous notice. So
Yeah.
now, if they
And
put, you
unanimous.
could do it with a unanimous vote. And, but if one person voted no on any of it, why, it would be, that part wouldn't go. But you could take the part that would be unanimous, and it would be all right.
Thank you. You want to ask any questions further on the bylaws committee? One of the changes that I think of right off is a mail ballot, because the question came up of manning polls all day long. This was an alternative, and who has the time to do it, and so they wrote into this a mail ballot.
And this is one thing we really have to comply with.
Yeah, it had to be. Miss Rosecrans, do you remember any other outstanding change just offhand?
Not really, I have Ms. Cook's summary at home, but that doesn't help you.
You just grouped
Much
your
of this
committees
had to
to-
comply with the state and the AMA, and much of the change has to do with that. There wasn't much choice about it, but I did remember about the
Thereby be in a good mood.
written.
You see, part of this was putting the things where they belonged, too, because they were scattered around, and it was putting it where you could find it. Is the big thing. I don't think there's any real big change in it, like other than the mail ballots about the biggest.
That was as I remembered it.
And conforming
And
with ANA.
conforming with A&A.
I don't think we'll have a fight over it, but
She wants-
most of these things had to be.
And I believe we gave duties to officers.
Right,
Just to
that
be
was
aware
one
that
thing.
This kind of thing
Mhm.
hadn't been done before.
That was,
All members of the board just about have special, like Merle is a member of the board, second vice president is program chairman. Some of the other officers will have duties assigned by virtue of their office.
You made standing committees out of some we've been carrying for 10 years as special committees, and deleted the one about the AJN, some of the things that were not functioning and were not necessary.
Madam Chairman, now this is all the bylaws,
No,
but that's what I thought, that,
these are changes,
that's only the change.
yes.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty inclusive, because change would mean when we moved it out of one place into another place,
Well, I
And,
have that where we made the changes, but those that weren't changed still stand, is that right?
Right. She's appointed. Any further discussion?
Oh, legislature.
That was not here to
She
begin
didn't
with.
send a report. That's one of the few. We had about 4 that didn't.
Membership and credentials. We have a report that goes back to, you told
May.
me.
Oh, here it
May.
is. And May 27th is when they had their meeting. They want to approve 32
We
from
have,
that meeting that was
30.
circulated.
2 names that are recommended for membership in 5th District by the membership committee. These names have been circulated. We need a motion to accept the recommendation of the membership committee. I'll get-
You're voting them into membership, actually.
I move we accept the names submitted by the membership.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve for membership the 28 names that have been circulated. This is a recommendation of the membership committee. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no.
Did I say 28 or 32?
I thought you said
32.
32, excuse me, we
Sure.
still vote the same thing, 32.
32.
Do we have a report from the Committee on Nominations?
Yes. Down here in sequence. Miss Sachs. And one person declined after she realized that someone was running was from the same hospital. So they, Mary Wallace said that she would accept that. Ms. Sachs called me Friday, and here's the report.
Charlotte Sachs is chairman of the
Ms.
nominating committee. The nominating committee of 5th District met August the 19th. Although notification had gone out, only Ms. Buss and Ms. Mann were at the meeting in addition to Mrs. Sachs. I hope this is a letter, not a report, I'm sorry. But the committee submits the following names. For First Vice President, Mrs. English and Mrs. Mary E. Cates. For Secretary, Miss Anna Lou Overton, Sister Patricia Fable.
I didn't realize she was running too.
No, she's not. She's declining.
She's the one that's declining.
She didn't know that you were on the ballot, so Miss Wallace would be the other one.
Oh, that's where I got the question from.
She
didn't tell me why she was
See,
asking.
I fixed it down at the bottom. You see the little asterisk there.
Oh,
I
I
couldn't
see. I
change
didn't
her
read that.
report, so I just put it down at the bottom of it.
Miss Mary Wallace
Yes, at Grady.
for Secretary. And for Directors, Jean Alfred, Mary Grace Cox, Jacqueline Graves, Margaret Hasty, Elizabeth Primrose, Carol Rittenhouse, Inez Stanley, Charity Wells. Chairman of the Committee on Nominations, Elizabeth Eden, Mary D. Mann, Louise Duncan. This is a report from, this is a recommendation of the nominating
Well, they're
committee,
here,
or a
this is
report.
just the information for voters.
You're not gonna vote to accept it?
Don't they have the privilege of adding to this?
The vote?
Yes.
Well, anybody can add to it,
That's
even at
what
the meeting.
No,
even
I'm
at
talking
the
about
meeting.
now. You don't change?
You
What do
don't
you do
change the
about it?
committee's report. This is really the information. There's
All
nominations.
right,
Everybody has
this
right to
is
nominate.
for your information.
We'll give it to Miss Overton for her, and then I have a copy at the office.
Who
She can give it all back.
Charlotte Sachs is chairman of the nominating committee, excuse me. On the nominating committee besides Mrs. Sachs is Jackie Graves, Mary Mann, Francis Bussey, Alice Stack, Madeline Wade, Sister Mary Louise Battle.
I think the reason Miss Wade didn't get it, she was free for that afternoon and checking earlier, that was one of the 100 addresses given to A&A and had not notified us. And I think it was sent to a different address.
As a point of information though, we couldn't change the committee's report, but the board has the power to make up a ballot, do they not, if they wanted to?
If the board wanted to nominate someone in this place as the board, as a nominee of the board, you
I'm on
could.
another committee and we didn't approve of the, recommendation from the nominating committee, so the board made up the ballot, the final ballot. And I thought we could do this here.
You mean you changed the nominating committee?
No, we accepted their report from the board, but we, made up a ballot, the board of directors did.
It may be in your rules somewhere that you
You
can do
probably
that.
submitted additional nominations, and that's what you did. But the
long
ballot
as-
would not be complete until the district, does that, from nominations from the floor, and then the ballot. But the report of the nominating committee certainly is accepted,
Yeah, we
acceptable here.
accepted it, but it was not, really geographically representative of the state, so we added names to it to make it geographically acceptable.
You had,
Well,
you
now
added
that-
nominations.
Yeah, I think we took off a few too.
Oh, no, this is,
Yeah, we got the balance.
Pretty good.
Well, I know at the state, we, where it's not complete, the board, can complete.
Sure.
But they didn't remove anybody from it.
Well, in the past, they always accepted and adopted, but if we don't have to do it, well, we'll just present it as.
I believe you just automatically accept a report unless it's
And there's no
a
motion,
recommendation
right,
from
unless
this
there's some
committee.
motion in it. This, you can't change that in any way. You can make other nominations, just like a nomination, any person has a right to nominate. You can't take that away from them unless your bylaws take it away from them.
I know the hour is getting late, and I will try to go a little hurriedly. Do we have a report from the registry committee?
Yes, Ms. Honeycutt has one. Secretary.
Meetings held, two more called, but no quorum. Met many times with Conference of Nursing Service Directors, I think it's meant to say, of the Atlanta area. Includes, I'm not sure I know what you mean, representative and with chairman of, maybe she meant Atlanta area incorporated, with chairman, a representative and with chairman of advisory committee to try to solve registry problems. Registry closed under accomplishments. Registry closed August 1st, 1968. Problems: lack of support by private duty nurses and nursing service directors. Suggestions: move toward a community registry as soon as possible. Signed, Edith Honeycutt.
Thank you. May we have a report of the advisory committee to the registry, Ms. Overton?
We held, I calculated really 2 meetings, and the aims for the year were to try to help resolve the problem of continuing a registry for private practice nursing. And out of the meetings that we held, as well as additional ones with other groups and committees, an ad hoc committee to formulate a proposal for a community registry for private practice nursing was appointed, and Mrs. Armstrong and I sort of served together as co-chairman, I guess. We never really appointed a chairman. But a proposal has been drafted and forwarded to various persons and healthcare agencies concerned for their consideration and hopefully endorsement. When this is secured, the ad hoc committee will continue to function until a sponsor and money and other initial steps are taken to establish the community registry. The problems, I didn't list any except that work seemed to proceed slowly. Except that work seemed to proceed slowly, no particular problems. And everybody who's worked has certainly made fine contributions. And suggestions, my suggestion would be that this committee as such would go out of existence because there is no registry now under the auspices of the district, and I don't see the need to perpetuate a committee of this kind, because if and when the community registry is established, it will have a policy-making board with wide representation from the association.
I believe this is one of the changes in the bylaws that when the registry was closed, all reference to the registry was removed from the bylaws. So with the adoption of the new bylaws, the changes, this would go out of existence. Public relations.
No report, Miss Hale. We, of course, work during Nurse Week, and all of you know we have news, media, radio, and television, full coverage.
Well, I might say, too, that I got on the hook 2 or 3 times, radio, about the private duty section, the registry closing, and the increase in dues. I never did hear myself. I hope I represented what the intent was and what I said. This is not a report, but I would like for you to know that some of these people in news media are married to nurses, some to private duty nurses, and I think this is where the leak is.
Madam Chairman, there was a misunderstanding. Ms. Atkins said that I thought that you alerted the news media, but I didn't say that. I just said it was unfortunate that they asked you about it. I mean, before you were officially notified.
Somebody from 13th District told me they heard you that you were proper tomorrow.
Well, bless their heart. I wasn't saying that for any reason other than to say that I never did hear it when it came out. Once, I mean, it was taped.
I got a glimpse of it, Margaret, and you did all right. Say spot news.
There was one thing that was picked up by some, and I don't know why it was picked up, and it said something about pampering the patient as to why we needed private duty. The question was why we needed private duty nurses. And some people picked up the idea of pampering, and if I said pampering, I don't say I didn't say it. What I was saying was more individualized care. Personal care is what I was trying to say. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. But we have been on the radio and the television. Official publications.
Miss Wells sent a report, and of course, she too recommended that the committee be dissolved. We have taken care of them in the district there, and let's see if she put down how many subscriptions we have. I think it's about 46. She did not. I sent her the number, but at any rate, we've sent that many.
Now we'll move to the report of Special Committee on Careers.
Yes, Ms. Colquitt sent you one.
Why don't you just go ahead and read it now that you got it in your hand?
Well, she said they held 2 meetings planning Nurse Week with the membership and program committees, and of the accomplishments, along with the membership and program committee, planned the activities of Nurse Week. Special emphasis was focused on one day out of the week, May 9th, at which time an open house was held from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. at St. Joseph's Infirmary. Various health agencies as well as several nursing care equipment manufacturers were represented at displays the entire day. In addition, all the schools of nursing in the area were allowed to exhibit recruiting materials. Actually, there was an estimate of 500 people, which is the largest attendance we've ever had, and that included a good many high school students. Miss Gamage was the one that carried along with that program there. It deserves a great deal of credit.
Thank you. Do we have a report from the insurance committee?
No.
Economic
Yes.
Security and General Welfare,
She
Ms.
said
Brochard?
meetings held none. Nothing could be done at district level this year. Ms. Brochard.
Is that right? Because,
Well, that's what she said.
they got an increase of dues and they had this correspondence back and forth with the economic security.
Yes.
uh,
We didn't get any copies of it, but that's
so
Committee didn't do
private duty
anything.
section.
I was on that committee, but I was never called for a meeting, but
No.
there were things that could be done on.
Sure can.
She was sent everything we had in Fifth District.
Maybe
she had never
the
got
situation
like
will
those.
be changed with Mr. Kravitz being here, and I think he probably will make some things clear to us when he
Who was
speaks.
the chairman
Well,
of
she
that?
tried, I know she
Brochard.
tried, because she was real
Brochard.
upset about it.
Well, I sent her material that hadn't even been released,
She
everything that I
tried, she
had.
didn't call her committee together, because I was on that committee.
Is there, do we have a report from Nursing and National Defense?
No,
Committee on Personal Practice?
no.
We have a report from the sections, EACT, Ms. Mallory. Got
Uh,
talking, didn't we?
We've had a meeting every other month, except during the summertime, we don't have them. And, we've had an average attendance, so we're wondering whether or not that's a good time of the day to have it. You know, we changed this 2 years to the luncheon time, thinking it was a real good time, but it ended up with about as many people there, but for there being more from the one hospital, namely Grady, because this is where we're meeting, so I think it's important that we rethink this time, especially.
Thank you. Administrators, Ms. Rosecrans?
We have not met since, March. But are scheduled to meet the 1st of October. We meet 4 times a year, so nothing new.
General duty, Ms. Bussey?
Yes, she has one. She's had 2 meetings and 2 held, 2 planned. Aims for the year, increase interest in attendance in general duty meetings. Accomplishment, very little. Attendance, about 10 or 12. Very difficult to get people to run for office. Problems, contacted problem. Telephone committee discontinued. Letters to each member is too expensive. Letters to hospital now, method of contact used. And her suggestion, I believe that the 10 or 12 who want to work would benefit the 5th District better by giving their service to the district instead of the section. Ms. Bussey. Francis Bussey.
The occupational health, Ms. Langford.
No report. They've had difficulty with their meetings and planning them. The poor attendance has been very discouraging to them.
I went to one at which we met over at,
Red Cross?
No, at the restaurant just back of the Red Cross.
Davis Brothers?
Yeah, it's the Davis Brothers, but anyhow, there were only about 5 or 6 attended, and they were still trying to get off the ground and to have a active section. Public health, Ms. Hanson.
I gave
She's
a
got
little
a
brief report, but we have had regular meetings, and as I stated before, this Mr. Kravitz certainly stimulated a lot of interest, and I think our accomplishments as I see it from that standpoint, economic security and welfare for nurses, since we did get so much interest and we had excellent attendance, we did a lot of calling and special interest in getting these members there, and he was right complimentary on the way the interest the nurses expressed there. And I think that our problem, where we've been meeting, hard to get